This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Effizode 805. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today we hear the return of the much-loved segment News Random, where we look at some very interesting news stories that you have not heard yet. Plus, we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley, and vampire bat drones. Do those turn into vampire drones? Mike's Daily Podcast. Do I need to buy my movie ticket now to see a Cyborg Twilight? The answer to that is no. Mike's Daily Podcast. And it's always no. Just say no to bad acting. Hey, on the last show, the disgruntled fiddle player fell off a wall and broke his bones. And then his wife, Benita the rodeo queen, put him back together again with duct tape. And then the disgruntled fiddle player told us that he was born on a luggage rack. And I think that the point of that escapes me at the moment. Mike's Daily Podcast. And we heard that Benita was born in a barn and the brewmaster was born in a violin. Mike's that was bought daily at a flea market. Podcast. That was bizarre. Yeah! So this show will be much more normal and sensible. Even though I have not done a show in a while, why the hell did I not do one? Well, look who just walked in.
Hello, Michael Masters. This is Madame Rootabega. Und yes answers that question.
Ooh. Well, the answer is because I got really busy with all sorts of stuff with life. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? Why do I even podcast? I don't understand the point of it. And then it dawned on me, oh, I know what the point of it is. It's because I have to. There's too many podcasts now. The podcast situation is just like what radio was or is and became, and just about every other major artistic endeavor. It becomes majorly corporatized, and the independent person vanishes. To wit, look at all the networks now. You've got the Nerdist Network. You've got that, what is his name? Kevin Smith's network. You've got the whole This American Life thing that spawned Serial. You've got these networks, and there's no independent person anymore. It's so irritating. Look who else just walked in.
Oh, dear, Mike. This is Valentino, the Birkin thing.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, why the hell do you need to have the difference? What matter does it make that if you have someone that makes a podcast that's being paid a bunch of money from a big corporation, or you got a guy who does a podcast who's in his basement and is very depressed?
Yeah, what's the difference, Mike? Podcast a podcast.
Dude! Yes, to the untrained ear. But I think the independent, that's the whole thing. That I got into podcasting because I thought it was cool that all of a sudden there's all these independent voices. These people uniquely telling us things from their lives, what they know. Maybe they are good at reviewing Marvel Comics movies. Yeah, let's hear it for that. I know someone who does that, and I think that's awesome, and they're not part of a big network. And they're doing it all themselves, and it's great. I think you and I need to champion the independent person once again. The non-franchise person. That's what I'm saying. Go non-franchise with the podcasts that you listen to. Just like you would not go to a fast food restaurant, right? You go to your farmer's market. Think of the independent podcaster as a person that sets up a tent and tries to sell kale. That's the podcaster you should listen to.
Mike, I have no idea what you just said there.
Yeah, it was completely inexplicable. Do you know that?
Well, that's all I'm saying. Madame Rootabega, what do you think about all this?
Michael Master, I think that there's a laundry machine in the last place on earth. Oh,
yes, there is. We can do your laundry here. It's amazing, and dry it. And of course, there's a bunch of root beer here, which explains why everybody here looks gaunt and spends too much time in the bathroom.
Oh, Mike, I don't think anybody goes into the bathroom there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a disaster zone. Do you know that?
Hey, look, it's Basil. He's in the podcast picture, which we'll find out more about later. But hey, vampire bat drones? Yes. Taking a cue from vampire bats, which can both fly and walk, researchers have built a drone that works on land and in the air, according to news.discovery.com. The DAILR, which stands for Deployable Airland Exploration Robot, was created by the Swiss Research Institute EPFL, what I like to call EPFL. This DAILR has foldable wings that, when extended, give the drone agility in the air, but when retracted, allow it to amble bat-like across the ground. Ooh, that sounds freaky. In flight, it can go about 20 meters per second. When walking, it goes about 6 centimeters per second. It's not the fastest, most efficient walking robot, but then again, few, if any, flying robots have the ability to walk. Being able to do both gives DAILR some advantages. Such a robot could be used to scope out areas otherwise inaccessible to humans. Like a disaster area, this little guy could swoop in and then scramble over rubble or poke around underneath obstructions to investigate the scene. It's also incredibly durable. In the video for it, a researcher is shown hitting the wings with a hammer to no effect. In the press release, the researchers say that future development of the DAILR will include the possibility to hover and to take off autonomously from the ground in order to allow the robot to return to the air and come back to base after the mission. Cool. Do you want one of these? Are you going to buy one of these as soon as it becomes legal to fly one of these? Which will probably be never. It's a droney world, my friend. We're going to be walking amongst the drones. And then the drones will be walking amongst the skeletons. Terminator! What do you think? Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com is the email. You can also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. And if you want to help out the show, go to the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. We've got links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. You can comment on the show and rate the show. If you do that, that helps our ranking and more people find out about us. It's MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Look for the link in iTunes to subscribe to us in iTunes. Another great way to help out this show is the podcast awards are coming up, and we have never won an award on this show. We think there is a long shot that we could in the category best produced, because as you hear, most podcasts, it just be me talking over dead air. Hello, this is Eric Last. Ever wondered what happened inside of a dog's stomach? We did. That's why we put our top investigator, Flynn Fluey, inside of a dog's stomach. And this is what he found out. Dead air. Behind me. Instead of crowds and music and piano playing. That's actually me playing the piano. Did you know that? Every podcast that I've done, I've been playing the piano in the background the whole time. I deserve an award just for that. So vote for the best produced category, and the link, you can find that at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, or just go, it's easy, podcastawards.com. Go there and vote for Mike's Daily Podcast. It'd be so great if you did that. Another great way to help out the show is buying whatever you're going to buy on Amazon. Go through the Amazon link that we have at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, and that helps us out too if you just go through that link first at the website. Also at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com is the blog, the Daily Podcast Picture, and links to where to find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spreaker, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Yelp, Tumblr, and Twitter. Oh yes, we're also on Facebook. Like the Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends, and more people will find out about us that way. Facebook.com/MIKEs-DAILY-Podcast.
News Random.
Oh, wow. So this is a segment where we look at some interesting news stories in a random sort of fashion. It's called News Random. And these stories have to do with help. I mean health help, self-help, and the fitness and that sort of thing. And first, oh man, this song, I'm going to play a little piece of a song I have lived this song all too many times in my life. Been with women that are angry all the time. She's lighting up. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw singing that together. As of this recording, they are still married. So I guess they're working through their anger. No, I don't know if they're angry with each other. But I love that song they did together. It's very true. A song written by, was it not Charlie Robeson? Bruce Robeson. Thank you. And they actually did a version of Bruce and his wife, Kelly something. I can't think of it. Kelly Willis. Thank you. Wow. The amount of crap that's stored in my brain, pretty scary. So, speaking of anger, this according to health.com, if you've ever blamed a bad mood on low blood sugar, you're onto something. Being hangry, which is hungry and angry, or as I've heard it called, hypoglycemic, is a real thing. Oh, boy, is it a real thing. I have witnessed it on many occasions with ex-wives and ex-girlfriends. Researchers from the Ohio State University and the University of Kentucky put it to the test with married couples, measuring their blood glucose levels daily for 21 days and having them secretly stick pins in a voodoo doll of their spouse. Don't know where that lisp came from. I have control of my other list, but that list just came out of nowhere. Each evening, up to 51 pins at a time, depending on how peeved they felt. Those whose glucose levels ranked in the bottom 25% stabbed more than twice as many pins into their spouse doll as those in the top 25%. At the end of the 21 days, the couples came into the lab to play a computer game against each other in separate rooms. The winners could blare an unpleasant noise at their partners as loudly and for as long as they wanted. Once again, people who had lower average levels of glucose were more aggressive, willing to blast their mate at a louder volume and for a longer time than those with higher levels. Glucose gives the brain the energy to exercise control, explains lead study author Brad Bushman, PhD, professor of communications and psychology at Ohio State. When you're hungry, glucose levels drop, making it harder to rein in hostility. To keep bickering with your partner to a minimum, quote, the next time there's a sensitive issue to bring up, discuss it over dinner rather than on an empty stomach, Bushman advises. I don't know if I like that advice, because if there's one thing I hate, it's having an argument over a meal. I hate sitting down to a meal, you're hungry, and you're trying to eat, and all of a sudden, your spouse, your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever, starts saying, you know, I really want to talk to you about the fact that you don't want to have kids. And then you're like dropping the fork and going, God damn it, I wanted to eat this. Can we wait till at least after? But that's just me. That's just single me. Does it feel like you're driving all morning in your commute? Believe it. There are plenty of ways to make your journey to the office less stressful and much more enjoyable, so it feels like free time. Here are a few ways, according to also health.com. Number one, take it slower. You can't shorten your commute, but you can build in positive experiences, says Christine Carter, PhD, a happiness expert at the Greater Good Science Center at the University of California, Berkeley. Shop for coffee. Find one cool part of your trip, even if it's just a pretty tree in the parking lot,
and pause to appreciate it. Number 2, listen to a juicy